there. Hey guys, Ivy, thank you for talking about the 5 why. So the 5 why exercise, it's actually a very well-known exercise, but a lot of people they use it to find the root cause. As kids, when we grow up, I'm sure you guys all have kids at home. They always ask why. And a lot of time they get to why. Well, I don't know. But those are valid. But as we grow up, we stop asking the why, right? Direct shippers kind of wanted to go back to the slide before I introduce myself a little more is because direct shippers are hard to find because why? Well, most people don't know where to start. And why don't we know where to start? Well, because no one ever really showed us, right? And why hasn't anyone showed us? Because we learn from our friends. We all start trucking business, most of them are family business. And we learn from friends. And friends tell us they rely on brokers, they go to Lowboard. That's where they go find. That's their source. And we learn from them. So naturally, when we go into industry, we all rely on the Lowboard. And then the reason why brokers are good at because there's so many sectors and so many equipment types. They are very good at their unique type and sector. So once you become good at it, then you have a wide knowledge of knowing the pain points from each sector: reefers, flatbed, dry vans, medical equipment, cement, construction. Right? When you deal with those all the time, you become really good at it. You know where to find them. And the reason why we don't know where to start, because if you search in Google, direct shippers near me, nothing is going to pop up. Why? Because there's no such thing as direct shipper alone. However, if you niche down, go down to the most bottom why is the sector. For example, let's use plastics. If you type in plastic manufacturers near me, all of a sudden you see it. All of a sudden you find where they are. And then with that, it becomes much easier. You can map out a way on how to target them, right? Plastic shippers, manufacturers, they all ship plastic. They all have the same pain point. The more people you talk to, the more you find out, oh, there's a pattern. And they all are having this problem, whatever that may be, right? They all have this problem. It becomes easier for you. And you speak the same language. You start to understand their journey, their daily life, their struggles. And you can figure out a pain point to solve that. So this is the purpose of today's seminar, to talk about mastering the niche, right? How to figure out a niche and how to find shippers from that way. And then this is why a lot of brokers, if you look at them, we need to learn from them. Instead of blaming them for the market being too low, we need to learn from them. They don't have any asset. They have no trucks, but they're getting direct shippers. Us with asset, we're not getting any, right? If you think about it, if they can get it, there's no reason why we couldn't get it. So we need to learn from them, see what's working for them, and apply that to ourselves. And that starts with mastering the niche for today's seminar. A little bit about my background. I started my career with Amazon as well. I joined my dad. He had 3 trucks, struggling for about a decade, going between 1 to 3, right? Getting more trucks, selling them, trucks breaking down, struggling. He didn't know his profit margin. He was always on the road. Growing up, I never knew what I wanted to do, but I knew one thing I didn't want to do, which was trucking. He was never home. And I never rarely see him. And we come home, piles of paperwork, being bottom of the food chain. Anyone can step on us. Everybody eats off us, but nobody really offers any resources to us. So after growing up, I realized that, and this is a huge industry. So I joined him. And then shortly after I joined him, I helped him scale from 3 to 50 trucks in a little less than 3 years. He didn't know his profit margin. I found out from him it was 7%, a little less than 7% in that range. I started working with direct shippers. I started walking around driving to the office all day. And it made me realize that, wait a minute, there's so many warehouses near me, and there's so many people, so many trucks picking up from them. Why am I not introducing myself? And I see a license plate from I'm in California. I see license plate from Dallas, from Texas, from Arizona, from all over. Why am I letting people taking loads literally from my front door? So I started talking to people. I landed my first customer, and that person turned out to be a medical equipment manufacturer. And so after working together, guess what? We know a lot of truckers. Shippers know a lot of shippers. If they're in the medical industry, they know a lot of medical industry people. So they start referring customers to us, and we start growing that way. And that's how I kind of carved my own niche in the medical equipment industry. That's a little bit about my story. 2021, he retired. I launched Truckpedia, which is a software that I built for him to run and scale his business to what we do now, to help other trucking companies find direct shippers to scale. There are a lot of organizations, a lot of associations out there, a lot of them. Any of those you go to, all they talk about is compliance. All they talk about is all the legal stuff to make sure you're compliant. No one ever teach you about finding direct shippers. It's kind of almost a taboo in your industry, online, anywhere, podcast. No one really talks about it. And I actually was curious why. I mean, you go to those conferences, you pay so much money to go there, but everyone's trying to sell you something rather than teach you something. And there's zero association focused on direct shipper. The reason behind that was people organizing those events, they own trucking companies. They're not going to share their secret sauce, how they did it, right? So that's why we're hosting those seminars, hoping that what value can we provide? What are some lessons I learned that we can help other people out? And with that, we're going to talk a little bit about Truckpedia. And our mission is connecting carriers to shippers through technology. And our vision is shaping the future of trucking. There has not been any advancement in trucking industry, especially focused on carriers, in the past 20 to 30 years. We see a lot of technology focusing on shippers, a lot of technology focused on brokers. Nobody really does anything for truckers. So we want Truckpedia to be the one to help truckers, be the voice, be the advocate for truckers in our industry and reshape the future of trucking. If you think about the airline industry, if you think about the hotel industry, we're all asset owners, right? There's no different. They own their hotels, they own their airplanes, we own our trucks. But it's so easy for people to book a flight, to book a hotel, but when it comes for trucking, almost become impossible to book that. Why? Because of lack of technology, lack of people focusing on truckers to make that change. And Truckpedia wants to lead the way to make that change. And the root cause of it, going back to that one, right? Going back to the root cause of the whole thing is no one is really diving deep into the root cause. We look at the symptom, we don't identify them. So that's what we're going to do today with some seminar is we're going to identify, figure out the root cause of everything, right? Root cause, what's a symptom? What's a problem? What are the causes that made it happen? And what are the solutions? What are our goals? And how do we execute? And one quick example of that is if you think about a fever, and this is something, a framework, one of my favorite framework is if someone has a fever and what's the cause of that? Well, it's probably an infection. Well, how do you treat that infection? You have probably take a medicine. Well, what kind of medicine? You take a pill, right? That's a root cause of fixing that whole thing. But when it comes to finding shippers, we're going to have the same approach, the 5 why framework, right? The fishbone framework. Everything we dive into, we're going to be logical. We're going to dive down to the root cause and fix it and working backward to make sure the problem is addressed. And with that, the problem is twofold in our industry. Shippers can't find carriers and carriers can't find shippers. And it sounds hard to believe. Carriers are actually harder to find than shippers. It's actually really hard to find carriers. Think about that. Your trucking company, whatever you're running, if I type in the equipment, let's say you're hauling ocean containers, you're hauling dry van, reefer, produce, all the stuff that you're hauling. If you type in that commodity, you type in trucking companies near your zip code, would you populate? No. 99% of you, I guarantee you will not populate. Even if shippers want to find you, right? Nobody want to go through a middleman to find their trucks unless if they have an option. The only reason why they work with brokers is because brokers make their life easy, right? We often hear from truckers, oh, shippers don't want to work with me. Well, I reach out to this person, they require me to have 50 trucks. Well, you only got 5 trucks. You don't need to work with Pepsi. You just find 1 or 2 similar size shippers near you. That's all you need. You have 5 trucks, you cover 5 loads, 10 loads a week, and 3 to 5 shippers. That's more than enough to get your trucks going. And understanding your margin, making sure for the rates if the shipper is currently working with brokers, your rate count that you get from DAT, even if you mark up by 10%, you're still lower than what brokers are charging, right? If your profit margin is sitting at 7% right now, and you up that by 10%, that's pure profit. Right away, you increase your profit margin from 7% to 17%, and you're still charging less than what brokers are charging shippers. It's a win-win situation for everybody. You can provide much better service. You're available 24/7. You're always available to help people out, right? And then this is why we say you can find people that way. And Ivy, And this is a framework. I will another framework that this actually applies to trucking. This is what I use to help me really grow from 3 to 50. The ways that brokers are doing, the brokers are doing, everybody else doing that we're not doing. This is something. If there's one thing you should take away from today, it should be this chart. When it comes to finding shippers, when it comes to finding loads, everybody's going to side channel, DAT, truck stop, 3PLs, digital marketplaces. Who own them? Brokers. This is a side channel. That's not the main channel. What's the main channel? Inbound marketing, outbound marketing. Who are the people running inbound and outbound marketing? Brokers. What do? They leverage us truckers. Hey, I got 50,000 carriers. I got 100,000 carriers working with me. Let me help you out. How do they get that message to shippers? Inbound, outbound marketing, right? This is something that's not new to the industry, but it's new to us. None of us is really doing those inbound marketing. Truckers are not on LinkedIn. Who are on LinkedIn? Shippers are. Logistic managers, transportation managers, the people running the freight, they're on there. How do we find them through email marketing? How do we conduct cold calls? Where do we find a list? And even when we knock on doors, your drivers are going to pick up every day. There's a lot of warehouses near where you live. How do you find them? How do you knock on their door? And how do you map that out? Conferences. For truckers, do not go to those. Well, I don't recommend people going to those, right? State association conferences, trucking conferences. The reason why behind that, I mentioned that a little earlier, is because people hosting those events, they want to sell to you. You go there, there's a lot of vendors trying to sell their software, sell their service to you. And that's not where the target customers go to. And it becomes much easier when we talked about earlier, the 5 why, talk about the different sectors, talking about different commodities you haul. Once you become an expert in your own commodity, let's say, for example, for me, medical equipment, right? I accidentally got into medical equipment because that happened to my first one. For me, what worked out really well was if you type in direct shipper conferences, there's nothing. But when you niche down, if you type in medical equipment conferences near me, you're going to see a list of them. You're going to see a lot of them. Who are the people going to those conferences? Shippers, logistic managers, transportation managers, right? Where even if they're not in transportation, they're in operation, they're in sales. They can at least get your foot in the door and introduce you to the right person. When you're walking over there, 80%, 90% of them are shippers. There's only a few of you. And even a few of you, and majority of that are probably brokers. Brokers are the one going to those conferences. Brokers are the one going to those places trying to find them. Imagine you as a trucker walking to those conferences with business cards, with one pager, telling people, hey, I'm a trucking company. I only haul medical equipment. You're going to stand out right away. There's zero trucking company that will go out there and market themselves. I haul nothing but medical equipment, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, you become an expert. You become so good at it because those medical equipment shippers, what do they care about? High value, right? Their stuff are fragile. Well, they're not fragile, but they don't want them to break. They care about service a lot of time more than they care about price. They're not price sensitive. They're not rate sensitive. They care a lot more about service. When you talk to those people, they all share the same pain points. Just like us truckers, right? Us truckers all here today share the same pain point, not able to find direct shippers. When you go to those logistic managers, those people share the same thing. And another thing is people give up too early. In sales, it takes about 7 to 11 touches before you can close people. But a lot of truckers I talk to, even if they go to those shippers, they knock on their door, they give them a phone call, shoot them an email, that's it, they give up. That's 3 tries. Statistics speaking, it takes 7 to 11, right? That's when these things become so powerful. It's because you want to touch them again through email marketing. Set up automated email marketing, write out 12 email campaigns. All medical equipment shippers share the same pain point. If you're trying to provide value to them, the same email you write, it's applicable to everybody. Write those emails, schedule them. Next 12 months, the smartest people, salespeople, in my opinion, are the locksmith people. The reason that is they don't spend any money on ads. They don't go knock on doors. What they do is they print out their business card and the sticker, they post it at all the entrances, the gates, apartments, all those major entrances, they put it there. every time people call them, it's a paid customer. Almost guarantees a paid customer. Our emails, when we send out those emails, a lot of people say email marketing is dead. It's not. All of you are here today because of email marketing. We didn't call a single person. It's all through email, right? Same thing. Email marketing, you're not trying to close a customer through email. You're trying to get their attention. You're trying to stay on top of their head. TQL, we all know TQL. Nobody likes TQL, even shippers. But they offer the lowest rate.
Yeah.
When shippers work with TQL, that means someone's going to drop the ball. Someone's not going to show up. If your email coming at the same time that a truck fell off on the load, that's when you go, let me give Rhonda a chance, right? Let me try her out. One load turns into multiple loads. A relationship a lot of times start that way, right? We need to learn from other people. In this case, the locksmith, learn from them in their business cards, posting them at entrances. Our email should serve the same purpose. LinkedIn, right? Shippers are on there. Why are we not on there? We need to figure out a way, how do we get on those LinkedIn places, connect with the right people so we can get them to see us, to know us, right? In order to sell, they first need to know who we are and how do we get them to talk to us. And other part, blogs. We actually have a blog ranked #1 by organic search on Google called How to Find Direct Shippers. We know trucking companies are searching how to find direct shippers. So we get about 5 to 10 leads. For us, our target customer are truckers. So we write a blog about how to find direct shippers and put down all the different ways of doing that and have a clear call to action. Does this apply to you? Well, come reach out to us. We get about 10 leads every month consistently through there from one blog we wrote from almost 6 months ago. Same thing. We need to think about what shippers are thinking about. If you go wide, if you go broad, you write a blog, you're not going to track anybody because you're being vague. People are searching on Google when they have problems. For example, again, medical equipment, right? Medical equipment. Those people have the same pain point. If you write a blog targeting medical equipment, targeting dredge, targeting corrugate, targeting whichever commodity that is, if you write a blog targeting those people, post on a regular basis, when they search, guess what? You're going to populate. And you're going to tell them exactly how to solve their problem. At the end of it, you're going to have a call to action button and driving people to your website, driving people to your online presence, driving them to send that email, to give you a phone call, give you a text, right? That's what those things are, the purpose of it. Ads. Do not ever waste money on ads until you have verified, you have confirmed that these things work. What I mean by that is you don't want to run ads just for the purpose, I'm going to run ads, see if there's anyone bite on them or not. I'm going to run smart. I'm going to be smart. I'm only going to run ads that are proven. I'm going to run ads that, okay, my email, for example, I send this email to 5,000 people. There's 80% open rate. There's 11% response rate. If you run that type of ads, focusing on that part, you guarantee your ad's going to work, right? You know for sure the ad's going to work because you had a sample of audience that you tested with. That's when you run ads. You run ads through those different things to make it work. So these are some stuff that we always talk about in our seminars. And at each seminar that we host, we always dive into one. For example, we're going to focus on social media. We're going to focus on writing blogs. We're going to focus on email marketing. We're going to focus on LinkedIn marketing. We're going to focus on how to make cold calls, knock on door conferences, right? Every single one of those topics is one seminar. So that's why we're always hosting different seminars to teach and share with people how does this work. And in any of our seminars that you join, we're not going to sell what we do, right? And that the purpose for the differentiator between Truckpedia and everybody else is we're going to sell by teaching our people, by sharing resources, by sharing value with our people. Same thing that everyone should adopt is when we work with shippers, we're not going to sell them by calling them, hey, do you need my truck? We're going to sell to them by sharing value, by giving them tips, by showing that we're the subject expert in this commodity, in this package, in this commodity or in this type of equipment, heavy haul. Some of you are heavy haul, right? Brokers don't know that you can finish this project in 13 trucks rather than 25. You know that. You know exactly the length, the dimension, what permit you need. You know exactly which route to take. You know exactly how to save those money. You're the subject expert, not the brokers. Brokers only become subject expert because they only deal, the heavy haul brokers, they only deal with heavy haul. They only work with a certain group of people. And by you telling them the problem they run into, they become expert over time. Same thing as you. Anything that we do, make yourself the expert. Understand their pain point. Figure out ways of how to get their attention. Attention span is only short if you're not adding value. If you add value to people, you can write a 10-page long blog, people will still read it. You can literally post a 1-hour video, people will watch it. They will only stop watching because you're not providing value to them, right? We need to adopt that same approach where we're looking for direct shippers. And what's stopping you? This is actually a chart I drew about 6 months ago. I was thinking about what's stopping truckers really from growing, because they're too comfortable in the comfort zone. Truckers, if you look at it, most people are what? Most people find loads on DAT. They work with existing few shippers that they keep on losing year over year. And they complain about the market, complain about drivers, complain about brokers. They're too busy with a $5 task. What's a $5 task? 80% scrolling through DAT, data entry, invoicing, call for roadside service, right? Those things are the $5 tasks, keeping you busy from even thinking about the $500 task. Every person here should be, the biggest priority for all of you is, how do you find more direct shippers? How do you increase your profit margin? How do you get to 15%, 20% plus in profit margin? That should be the $500 task. Once you figure out how to do that, all the small problems will go away. Compliance, driver problem, everything will go away. And then from comfort zone going to resistance zone, right? These are the 4 zones by nature, not just truckers, everybody face is comfort. We all like comfort. We all like staying there. Anytime we receive a little resistance, we hop right back into comfort zone. What are some of the resistance? Fear, right? Fear, rejection. Never done it before. It's new. And unwilling to learn new things because we're too busy. And reluctant, procrastination. Anytime we have a little resistance, we go right back to it. Everybody here today, you're actually getting out of your comfort zone. Everybody here today join a seminar, you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're trying to go over the resistance zone. Resistance zone is what's keeping people from the other two. Once you go over the resistance zone, you get into the learning zone. I don't care about getting rejected. I'm already the bottom of the food chain. What worse can happen to me? Once you get over the resistance zone, you get into the learning zone. Hey, how do I develop a value proposition for my trucking company that I can help shippers save money, save costs, and have a better service, right? How do I build an online presence? How do I delegate a $5 task? I run along the I-40 and I-10 all the time. Why am I searching for roadside service every time my truck breaks down? I should have a list of people or a process in place. If my truck breaks down at those points, that's my go-to. You're not going to get scammed by those repair people because you always go to them, right? You have a relationship built with all those people, and you have a process in place. You don't have to be the one calling them. Your dispatchers, your assistant can be the one calling them and taking care of it, right? How do you focus on the $500 task? How do you embrace technology, the things that brokers are doing, so that you can build a pipeline? Once you get into the learning zone, the growth zone is unstoppable. You inevitably, you like the growth zone. You will have a healthy balance of shippers and brokers. You will have a vision for your company, exactly how you want to achieve it, of what you plan to do with them. You will be looking at, those are the conferences I need to go to. Those are the trade shows I need to be at. You will be looking at your numbers. This is my profit margin. For next year, I have this much spend on this, on that. You will grow personally. Professionally, you will grow yourself to get where you need to be, right? Your customer will be happy. You have a pipeline. You're building a consistent pipeline, nonstop, of getting leads growing with you. And old way. What's the old way of trucking? Everyone is buried in DAT, right? Scrolling through DAT 80% of the day. Those are the $5 tasks. Taking leftover loads, we call them hot loads. Whoever is the first one that call into it can get it, right? We need to be fast, scrolling through the phone, trying to find the loads popping up. I know there's a hot load, I'm gonna call it. But in reality, those are leftover loads bigger companies don't want anymore. They post the load boards, right? We need to get there before we need to get the loads before you even pop up on DAT. How do we get that? It's through the inbound, the outbound marketing, finding the right people, setting up building a relationship, turn that one hot load into consistently a contract. Our goal is to get off a load board and getting into the contract market that we don't really talk about in the truck industry, right? And the result of that is most people are doing less than 10% in trucking, less than 10% profit margin. And most people don't even know that they're doing less than 10% because they don't have it. They're too busy with a $5 task to even figure out this is my profit margin. And what's a new way? Brokers are not evil. A lot of people say brokers not evil. They're not running a nonprofit. They're not charities. Their job, just like us, they want to make a living. They want to support their families. The higher the margin, the better it is. We're all in business to make a living. But the problem is we can't rely on 100% of them. We need to have a healthy mix, right? For our outbound loads, that's our home base. We need to have dedicated customers. Coming back, sure, we can use brokers or backhauls for fillers, right? They're important, but we just need to figure out how do we build a healthy pipeline. For some people, it might be 60% direct, 40% brokers, 70% direct, 30% brokers. For me, back then, when I run the business for my dad, we're probably 60 to 70% direct, 30 to 40% brokers. They're important. If you work with them, they're expensive salespeople. Just keep that in mind. They're expensive salespeople that need to make a living, and we need to use them to work for us as a salesperson. If you change your perspective to they're our extended sales team, I cannot rely on them unless I really need to, right? When you change that perspective, your profit margin will go up. Technology. Truckers are not leveraging technology. I'm not saying you guys should use Truckpedia. What I'm saying is you should leverage looking technology. How do we automate a $5 task? Why are we doing data entry 3 times? The same load, typing to Excel sheet, dispatching to driver, creating an invoice, we're doing loads, right? Those take time. They add up. And why are we tracking invoices? Oh, this invoice hasn't been paid. Why are we not automating that? POD, why are we scanning them by hand when driver comes into the office? Those take away your time. You can easily replace them with technology to save time for you so that you can focus on a $500 task. Those are the new way. Once you start doing those, you start focusing on the pipeline, growing the pipeline, getting leads consistently into it, right? New shippers coming in. You're not going to convert everybody, but once you start growing the pipeline, leads through different inbound, outbound marketing channels start flowing in, you're not going to be scared when your current 3 customers that you have might leave you. You're going to consistently adding more and more people to you. Before you know it, you're going to grow not because you want to, but because of demand. In any market, there's a demand. It is, how do you do that? How do you make it the new way of trucking and reaching the 20% in profit margin? I always tell truckers, if your profit margin is less than 10%, you might as well try to go into the brokerage game. Brokers have no income, have no asset, have nothing. And they're looking at 15% in profit margin, if not higher. If you're looking RXO, if you're looking CH, if JB Hunt, look at the profit margin. They're hiring the smartest people. They're spending millions of dollars on technology, and they're still looking at 15% in profit margin. And why are we doing all the hard work at 7% profit margin at risk of going out, being available 24/7? We shouldn't do that. But we need to get into 20% or more. And look into those numbers and figure out where your biggest cost is. How do you bring it down, right? How do you bring up your revenue? How do you bring up your profit dollars per mile? And so going to that is back again. Step number 1, don't haul everything. If you're running a trucking company right now, and I'm not telling you to stop what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, right? Your business needs to survive. But on the side, you should allocate some of your time, maybe 5 hours a week. That's all you need. 5 hours a week, selecting the niche, looking to your rate counts, looking to commodities you haul, right? Try to find one commodity that you like. For me, it was medical equipment. It could be cement. It could be for golf carts. I speak to probably over a few thousand trucking owners in the last 2 years, and the most successful one are not hauling all equipment type. The more successful they are, the more niche they are. The more successful are, the more niche they are. And I ran into a trucking company hauling golf carts. They grew over 200 trucks in a few years because all they do is hauling golf carts. And they're able to secure contracts with factories directly because they were known as the golf carts, right? They know all the golf courses, and they know all those places that manufacturers delivering to them. They build a name for themselves. We're the golf cart trucking company. I ran into cement trucking companies hauling cement for construction. And he told me this specifically. My profit margin is probably around 28%. I'm saying, wow, that's really high. And right now, this happened probably about 2 months ago in Austin, Texas, went to ATA conference. He goes, I haul nothing but cement, and everyone is laying off their drivers. I'm really happy because I'm hiring them. Before it was challenging a few years ago to hire drivers, but right now it works really well for me because cement construction is not slowing down, right? My customer is not rate sensitive because for the construction site he works at, if the driver is late by 1 hour to delivery, they lose $100,000. $100,000 for every hour's delay at a construction site if they run out of cement. So keep in mind when you're selecting your niche, don't select plastic, don't select those commodities that's really cheap. Select the one that's more fragile, high value, because those shippers are not rate sensitive. They don't care about rate as much as about service because they need those things moving and going for them. So keep in mind, for me, it worked out because I haul medical equipment. And in Southern California area, I was known as a medical equipment guy because people kept referring me to their friends. Truckers, again, you know a lot of truckers. If I tell you I need trucks, any of you here on this call, if I ask you, hey, I need a couple more trucks, this load is paying 3 times the market rate. Easily, you can find your friends, you can find people, bring them over because why? You know all truckers. Same as shippers, whichever niche, whichever industry they're in, all of their network belongs to the same circle. They all have our needs for truckers the same way. And the benefit, right? We kind of talk about that part. Benefits niching down, becoming a subject expert. And when you're become the best, everyone wants to work with you. All of a sudden, price doesn't matter anymore. All of a sudden, they want to work with you because they know they can rely on you, right? Same as us going to mechanics. That's a great example, right? For a truck's breakdown, we want to find the best mechanics, and we don't care if they charge $20 extra per hour because we know they can get a job done, and our truck will not break down on the road when we send them out, right? We're not price sensitive. Same thing as that. When we niche down, we want to find a market that's not price sensitive, and we can work with them. And you want to become the subject expert in that niche. And how do you start thinking about this niche, right? Location, background, interest, and pattern. Wherever you're located, if you're in Central California, produce might be the one, right? In California, there's a lot of vineyard. There's a lot of wineries nearby, but I have never seen one single trucking company that focuses on hauling wine. I always tell people, whoever get into that niche is going to make a lot of money. There's a lot of them. They have a need. Figure out their pain point. Figure out how they're finding trucks. You become the expert, having the hard liquor permit to haul wine for them, right? You're going to make a big living for yourself. And people in the tanker industry, there are not a lot of people in the tanker industry. If you're in the tanker industry, a lot of those quotes you get from customers, they're round rates, right? They're round trips. You quote them for the empty run on the way back as well. So find a niche that really interests you. Find a niche that has more money in it, and then in your location, leverage your location, whatever you're known for in that area. Try to find those shippers. Try to find those people. And this is a chart we'll also share it with people looking at the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I love looking at numbers. This is a chart tells you that 12% of the US GDP come from manufacturing. And this gives you a breakdown that computer electronics, they contribute out of the 12%, almost about 17% come from computer electronics, chemical product, machinery, petroleum, right? This is a breakdown of everything: furniture, wood product, apparel, paper product. This is a statistics that shows the different sectors within our industry that make up 12% of the entire US GDP. So if you need help selecting a sector, we'll email this out to people end of later today or over the weekend. So you have this to look at if you want to have some reference to what sector you're interested in. And step number 2, be searchable. Be searchable online, right? If your customers, just like how we're looking for roadside service, we're looking for parts. The most common one that we look for, right? Roadside service, truck breaking down. We're looking for parts. We're looking for tires, right? We're looking for all different stuff online. Shippers are doing the same thing. They're searching for stuff. I guarantee you, for those of you on your phone, on your computer, if you type in strawberry trucking company near me, if you type in ice cream trucking company near me, all those specific ones, you're not going to find anything. You'll probably see a lot of brokers doing their ads, but you're not going to see a lot of trucking companies. However, For restaurant, it's a very mature industry, right? If you type in restaurant near me, a bunch of them populate. If you type in Indian restaurant near me, you will only see Indian restaurants. If you type in Chinese, sushi, ramen, whatever that is, if you type in, it's only going to give you those options. For us, truckers, we want to do the same thing. We want to be searchable online, right? We want to be searchable when people type in for a tire manufacturer, if they're looking for trucking equipment to haul tire, right? What would they search? Ask yourself that and talk to a few of those people. When you're searching, what do you search online? And we want to those target keyword in our website. So when they search, we populate, right? So a lot of you don't have online presence. Make sure you build that. It's very easy. And that's something Truckpedia can help with as well to have that online presence. Second, even when you have a website, trucking companies, this is from Swift. Everyone knows Swift. When you go to those websites, another big problem in our industry is, what do you see when you go on their website? It's beautiful, it looks modern. It's probably a video of the truck moving as well, impressive. But the first thing, the call to action is apply to drive, right? For Swift, maybe they have a shortage of hiring drivers. This is a mistake I see from a lot of trucking companies, is apply for drivers. Second one, example, Standard Logistics. I actually know those people pretty well. For them, same thing right here. If you look at their website, beautiful, modern looking website, right? What's their call to action? Apply, driving jobs, office jobs. I actually talked to Standard Logistics. I asked them, do you have a driver shortage? They go, no, I don't. I talked to Swift, people from Swift too. Do you guys have a driver shortage? No, I don't. Well, on your website, you're doing all the hard work to get people to your website. Why is there a clear call to action for apply now, for looking for drivers? That's one big mistake. If you're building your website, if you're getting a website built, number one mistake to avoid is that. And I think the reason why is because when people build for a website, you always want to look at other companies. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're putting this apply now button right here. Well, let me do the same thing. So over time, when everyone build their website, trucking website, it's always right, apply now. When we go to Airbnb, when we book a plane ticket, it's never for apply now. It's always, hey, get a quote, get a rate, right? In trucking, that's the same thing we should focus on. Is this is a website built by Truckpedia. We can build a website for anybody in 3 minutes or less by using a template. Is Electro Trucking is actually a customer of ours. If you're building a website, you want them to look modern and beautiful. But the first thing you want to do is, hey, instant quote, right? We're truckers. We know the lanes that we run. We service those areas. We know what equipment we have. If people are typing A to B, there's no reason for us to keep our rates a secret. We're charging the lowest rate. I always tell people, you mark up by 10%, you still have the lowest rate. If you're booking loads from DAT, you have the lowest rate. There's no reason to keep them secret. Post them on your website. If people are typing A to B, let them see how much this costs, right? People don't want to talk to you. That's okay. When you send emails, call to action, what? Get a quote now, right? When knock on doors, hey, you don't need to call me. If you want to compare rate, go on our website. You can just type A to B. You can see how much that costs you, right? You can literally mark up by 10%, still have a lowest rate. That's the thing what we need people to do is instant quotes. It's not hard. It's very doable. And then this can be built in literally in minutes to make people typing A to B and get quotes now. Right. This is a way for shippers finding you is company website, define your core. What does your company do? We need to tell them that, hey, we haul medical equipment, we haul construction equipment, we haul government contract load, right? All the stuff that we haul, we want to define them, let people know this is exactly what we do. We're not for everyone, and we don't need everyone. I only got 10 trucks. I don't need to work with everybody. I just need to work with people from medical equipment, from construction, from those people. And I want to drive those people to my website and get their quote and compare that to what they're getting now. And giving them the option to track it, right? To make it easy for them. The easier we make it for them, the higher the chance of us winning those people as our customer. Most people use iPhone. It's because it's simple, right? Why use iPhone, Apple? It's simple. Why is Tesla? Why is everyone driving Tesla out there? Because it's simple, it's easy. They're making people's life easy. Same thing. Innovation in trucking is just pretty much being simple. How do you simplify the process? How do you make their life easy? Do they need to call you for update? Or can they see a tracking link? You have that. Give it to them. Make it easy for them. And I already have a website. How do I bring traffic to it? Blogs, one of the best ways writing blogs is people are searching online. You need to write blogs. You leverage ChatGPT, using the ADA framework, using ChatGPT to write blogs, post on your website, drive people to your website, work backward. Hero's journey is one thing I always like to talk about in other seminars, because figure out what the shipper's journey is like. What do they do? What's their day like? Do they check emails first? Do they call people first? What's your day like? When they go on Google search, what are some keywords from that industry are searching? We're going to figure out what those are. We're going to write blogs. So when they search, we populate. It's a great thing in trucking because no one's doing that. No one writes blogs. No one updates those things and giving solutions to people. If you do, it's very easily to be ranked at the top when people search for things. Top 10 trucking companies hauling medical equipment in Los Angeles. If you write that blog, when people search for medical trucking companies, it's going to populate, right? Reefers, wine company, produce, any of those stuff, cross-border and trucking companies, near Arizona, near Texas, near San Diego. All those keywords, figure out what people are searching. We write this blog, traffic will come. And at the bottom of your blog, call to action. Interesting to quote, come here now, right? That's our goal. It works. It works for a lot of people. And introduce yourself as that guy, right? When you meet people, when you talk to people, is how do you have a one-pager? When people apply for a job, they have a resume. We need to have a one-pager introducing what we do. This is another example we did for a customer is, hey, this company name, what do you guys do? What's your core service? What's your key strength? When you're meeting people, you want to give people something. So they look at it, oh, I remember them now, right? They may not remember right away, but this is going to help you. Like the message you talk to your customer from your website, from the one-pager, should be very similar to each other. Talking about the same message. We're a trucking company. We only haul medical equipment. And we go to those conferences, pass those out to people. We knock on doors, pass out to them. This is what I do. This is a one-pager about what we have. This is our website. This is my business card, right? This is how we can provide value to you. And yeah, so the story I think I shared with you guys already for both of them is, for me, I was a medical equipment guy. When I talk to people, I speak their language. I know the pain point. I talk to them, and they all have the same pain point. The golf cart story I just shared, right? They haul nothing but golf carts. And they became that guy, they landed annual contract, haul nothing but golf carts. They're light, they're not too expensive, they're easy, they're dedicated. He doesn't need to scroll through DAT 80% of the day. What he needs to do is visiting more golf carts, going to more golf cart conferences so that he can get people to work to know him, to build that presence. And number 4, grow, right? Ask, learn, connect, repeat, right? Continue growing your shipper network after landing the first one by asking your shippers, right? Provide excellent service. Turn them into a fan of your service. Use them as a referral for the next one. No one uses in trucking really. Especially for those who have a few shippers that you're working with directly right now, ask them, hey, I'm trying to grow my business and trying to know, do you know more people that I can talk to? If they've been working with you, they like your service, guess what? They're going to refer you. They're going to tell you that, you should talk to John. You should talk to Mike. You should talk to this person, that person. Let me give you an intro. Let me send an email intro to you, right? No one does that. This actually works really, really, really well. They know those people. Ask them, and learn. Go to seminars. You guys are doing the right thing. Go to seminars. Go to conferences that can add value to you. So what more can you do to grow your business? How do you manage your time? How do you save time? How do you cut down those $5 tasks? And how do you delegate to people? How do you find people offshore to save money on costs to do those admin tasks, right? Data entry, auditing invoices, making sure things are done the right way, permits, driver license, et cetera, driver files. Those stuff, a lot of stuff can be done by using offshore people, paying a fourth of your costs you're paying to people in the U.S. Find those resources and keep on repeating them. Keep on having that goal, setting a goal for yourself, what you want your profit margin to be, and figure out a way, map it to get there, right? So those are the steps for you to get your own direct shippers. Again, coming back to this slide is finding direct shippers is really, don't give up on them. Leveraging the different ways of targeting and repeating customers over and over again, right? When you first meet them, it's in person. And it's either through cold call, conference, or knocking on doors. and then start warming them up through emails, through LinkedIn messages. You're not going to convert them right away. Set up those email campaigns, send them out for the next 12 months. You're going to forget yourself. Set up a campaign and send them out. Keep on touching them. When they have a need, all we want is when they have a need, we're there. When they have an urgent need, we're available, right? And those will slowly turn into it. And this is a direct shipper roadmap. Kind of what we do for people normally is, hey, how do you land more direct shippers? How does Truckpedia help people find them? It's kind of like a roadmap on what we do with people. Is giving them a little training on how things work, and then how do you automate a $5 task so you can focus on the $500 task? How do you plan and execute on your inbound, outbound marketing stuff? Typically on seminars, I don't like to sell, and I'm not going to sell today either. This is something available if you guys are interested. Feel free. We'll send out the slides to people. If you guys want to take a look at what Truckpedia does, we can offer it to you guys. So I'll leave that. I'll leave this slide. I'm not going to go over everything on this one, but it's something that we offer to help carriers getting the stuff down. And this is one of my favorite graphic, cartoon, et cetera. When I study entrepreneurship at MIT, the professor always liked to use. I edited a little bit, right? I can see, and for this is trucker, a pirate like trucker, right? Direct shippers are right here. We can see them. I can describe them to you, but they're not completely visible yet because we're too broad. We're not niching down. Once we niche down, they become easy. And then the MIT professor I had, he always loved using pirates as example, because you need the spirit of a pirate, right? And also the execution skill of a Navy SEAL. Executing plus pirates will do anything to get what they want. Same thing as truckers. We need to be able to do anything, everything that people are not willing to do, right? Different ways to get the shippers and execute, and then to get them, right? Not only make them visible, but also actionable steps to land those people. We have a Facebook community we're trying to grow, so feel free to scan the barcode, join our Facebook community. We'll be sharing resources. On finding direct shippers. If any of you guys have any questions that, hey, Justin, I went to visit this direct shipper, there's a problem I'm running into, how do we address that? How do we tackle that, right? How do we go about this situation? We want to build a community to help everyone. So the community right there, feel free to scan it and join our community, and we will love to share resources and help you grow your business. These are from I think this is our 5th seminar. So these are seminars from the prior seminars we did in person, where this is our first virtual seminar. So these are the seminars we did in the past where we invite people over to our office. We always love to take pictures and capture the moments, remembering what's about. So those are the pictures from the past when we did our seminar to look at. And then I think we want to I do not know how to take a picture today because everything is online, but this is recorded, so we should be to go. And right now, that's pretty much conclude the whole seminar. For those of you joining online, thank you guys for staying with us. Thank you guys for joining. If you have any question, feel free to ask them in the chat, in the comment section over there. And then right now, pretty much we're wrapping up our seminar. So now it's a time for a Q&A, for discussion. People here live in person, if you have any question, feel free to bring them up and we can go over them.